A very good evening to all the lovely kids out there. How are you? How's your mummy and daddy? Did you go to school today? I want all the kids to tell me, what do you love to eat? Is it a pizza, a burger, ice creams, chicken popcorns? Or if you are a mama's baby, do you eat green vegetables, fruits, broccoli and porridge? I love eating chocolates. Do you know an amazing fact about chocolates? That just one whiff of chocolate can make people feel happy. A chemical in cocoa releases feel good vibes in the brain. So, whenever you feel sad, just have chocolate. Why am I asking you this? Because today we are going to talk about a king who ate, and ate. Our today's children bedtime treasury with Let Emotions Speak is The King Who Ate Too Much. Long ago, in a kingdom far, far away, there lived a greedy king. Now, the thing that this king loved more than anything else in the whole world was food. He simply couldn't get enough of it. Ever since he was a little prince, he had been allowed to eat whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. And because he was always eating, he just got fatter and fatter and fatter with every day that passed. When he became king, his appetite seemed to get even bigger. As soon as he woke in the morning, he would have his servants bring him an enormous breakfast. After eating several huge steaming bowls of porridge, he would eat slice after slice of hot buttered toast and jam, followed by all the boiled eggs that the royal chickens could lay. In case he got a little hungry mid-morning, he would have a snack, usually 10 or more chocolate cakes, washed down with as many cups of tea. At lunchtime, the table would groan with the weight of all the pies, sandwiches, fruit, and biscuits that the greedy king was about to gobble down. For afternoon tea, it would be cakes, cakes, and more cakes. But the king's biggest meal was supper. The royal cooks toiled for the most of the day to prepare this feast. When it was time for the king to eat, one servant after another would carry in great bowls of steaming soup, plates of fish of every kind, followed by huge roast and dishes of vegetables. Down it all went, followed by fruit and jam. At last, the king would be full and he would retire to his bed for the night. But the king's greedy eating habits also made him a very thoughtless king. No one dared tell him that much of the wealth of the kingdom had to be spent on his huge meals. In the meantime, his loyal subjects were going hungry and becoming poor and needy. One day, just after the king had eaten his usual big lunch, he began to feel very strange. Not only did he feel even bigger than usual, he also began to feel very light. Suddenly, without any warning, he started floating up from the table and into the air like a big balloon. "Help! Get me down!" he cried. The royal courtiers and servants jumped up and down and tried in vain to grab the king as he floated upwards. But in no time at all, he had floated out of reach. Before anyone knew it, he had floated out of the castle window. Out across the royal grounds he went, over the river and towards the woods and mountains of his kingdom. "Whoa!" cried the king as he disappeared from view. Soon the king began to float over a small farm. He looked down and saw the farmer's children, dressed only in rags, searching for firewood. Some thin, hungry cows stood nearby, chewing on a few meager pieces of hay. Over the next farm he floated, and a similar sad scene met his gaze. Dressed in rags, a poor farmer and his family toiled their soil hoping to grow enough to eat. Next, he floated over a small village. Everywhere he looked, he saw shabby, run down houses in need of repair and people in the streets begging for money. Every farm and every village the king floated over told the same story of hunger and misery. The king suddenly felt very sad and very ashamed. He had been so busy enjoying himself eating that he hadn't given a thought to the plight of his subjects. While he was getting fatter and fatter, they were all getting thinner and poorer. Now, a gust of wind was blowing the king back towards his castle. As he was passing over the castle, he suddenly felt himself falling down. Down, down he went until he landed back into the castle grounds with a great thud and a bounce. The very day the king sent out a royal proclamation, all his loyal subjects were to come to the castle for a huge feast, after which they would all be given a purse full of gold. As for the king, he was never greedy again. Instead of spending all his money on food for himself, he gave enough to all the people in the land so that they would never be hungry or poor again. So, kids, what did we learn from this story? That we should never be greedy. Loving is all about sharing and caring. So, if you like this story, don't forget to like it, don't forget to share it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you tomorrow with a new story, new message, and a new fun fact.